What's good, team? Right now, I'm about to bring you guys another discussion topic today. And today's discussion topic is going to be how to beat PK Fire, and this is going to wrap up my beating series for the current format until we get more decks coming out that are going to be popular in the meta. So the reason why I want to make this video is because let's face the fact, I haven't done a beating Burning Abyss S-type deck since over a year, so I feel like it was time to do an up-to-date video towards the Burning Abyss archetype in general, and not to mention this deck has been topping over and over on the regional circuit, despite the fact that I personally think the deck is ass. So in this video, I'm going to give you guys my tips and tricks to beating the PK Fire deck, so without further ado, let's begin. Starting off with why this deck is good. The deck is good because it's extremely consistent, damn near every hand does not brick. It has an amazing stun factor due to things like Beatrice sending Burning Abyss monsters from the deck. And then you have things like the PK Fire Sword that negate monster effects. And you have the PK Phantom Knight guy that pop cards. So it has an amazing stun factor. And then the grind game is amazing as well. With everything recycling itself over and over and over, this deck can just do it so well. So it's kind of hard to beat this deck. So in this video, like I do in all my beating series episodes, I'm going to go based on beating the consistency of the deck, beating the stun factor of the deck, and hurting the deck's amazing grind game. So let's start off with dun, 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 hurting the consistency. Now, PK Fire and Burning Abyss is pretty much a special summon type deck that revolves around things like the Terror Top into Turk into the Terror Top into the Dante, or Tour Guide into Dante, or BA Monster to Dante, or PK Fire Monster into fucking Dante. So all of these cards are really great. Flying Sea and Maxi are some of my favorite cards for this deck due to the fact that Maxi is a universal side deck card, meaning you can side deck it from multiple matchups. And then anytime they try to special summon, they're either going to go off and give you a plus 2 to 3, or they're just going to stop their cards and end their turn, giving you a chance to LTK them. With cards like PK Fire, it's very good for this matchup due to the fact that when they try to go for their XYZ play, it just completely stuns them out unless they get rid of it with something like Dark Hole, which I believe most Burning Abyss decks should be playing anyway, or they just switch the Flying Sea into attack mode and attack one of your monsters, causing damage to themselves. Now, one of the most popular cards to hurt this deck is the recently released and shining victories Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. For you guys that do not know what this card do, who's been living under a rock, during either player's turn, if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can discard this card, reveal one card in your extra deck, then look at your opponent's extra deck. Also, banish all cards in the extra deck with the same name as that revealed card. You can only use this effect of Ghost and Reaper or Winter Cherries per turn. Now, me personally, I personally think this card is a little too powerful due to the fact that it just completely shuts off a deck. So, if an archetype, like let's say for example, Heroes revolve around one card, which is like Dark Law, or Burning Abyss pretty much revolve around one card like Dante, it can pretty much just obliterate that deck. We're in a point of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where we don't really have a lot of recursion from the banished zone, so this card is just a powerhouse. I believe it's ahead of its time in my personal opinion. But with that being said, this card is the reason why Dante's have gone up a little bit, and cards like Dark Law has gone up a little bit, or cards that help out decks that based around monster going up has gone up a little bit due to the fact that if you have a bad matchup for decks like Heroes or the PK Fire, just get one Dante, side deck 3 of these, and you're good to go. And as soon as if they go first, you just dump the Winter Cherries. They cannot make their boss monster, and most decks like Heroes is just gonna cripple. I mean, yeah, they can fight back, but it's just gonna be that fucking good. And same thing for Burning Abyss. Yeah, they can fight back without the Dante, but not being able to make Dante Beatrice is a big push against them. But I've had heard instances where somebody Reaper the opponent and they still came back and won. They goes Reaper and Winter Cherries. It's one of the best cards to fight against this deck. So if you don't have a deck that has a good matchup for Burning Abyss, I highly recommend picking up this card. Or if you're on a budget, Flying Sea Maxi should do you just fine. Now that I talked about hurting excessively, we're gonna go over hurting the stun factor of the deck. Now that this deck has an amazing stun factor due to the fact that they use the PK sword to shut off effects. They have a ton of back row in some builds, and not to mention they have the almighty Beatrice. So let's talk about the back row first. So obviously you can use things like Twin Twister to destroy their back row, but a lot of one card I think a lot of players are lacking on, and a card I think is going to go up in the future is Cosmic Cyclone. You pay the 1,000, target a spell and trap card on the field and banish it. Now The reason why that is good is because when they activate their PK sword to try to negate your monster effect, you can automatically chain, pay the 1k, and banish their PK sword, which is very, very powerful in the BA match against the PK Fire matchup due to the fact that they can't banish their PK sword out of the graveyard to start recurring monsters from their deck, which is huge because if they can't get all that extra recursion, they're going to lose their grind game, and once they start losing their grind game, they're not going to be able to beat you. So Cosmic Cyclone is a very powerful card and an underrated card for that matchup. And also Cosmic Cyclone is a universal card, so it's good against decks like Pendulums and Cosmos. Banishing the Cosmo Town is really clutch. And banishing certain Pendulum monsters, like let's say for example the Cleafor Scout or the let's say Monkey Board or the Joker. The Joker's a big one. And the Karen, most Pendulum players are only attacking one Karen, so this Cosmo Cyclone is just a really good card. Now, cards like Swords Concealing Light and Book of Eclipse are other good cards you can use for this deck, pitting their cards face down. Reason being, this deck cannot function when cards are face down because they have to have face up Burning Abyss monsters on the field. So, let's say for example they have a big setup board, you can use Swords Concealing Light and stall them out, which can help lead you to a victory. Another great card I use to help me out at regionals is Floodgate Trap Hold against this deck. My opponent, he went for the Dante, I Floodgate Trap Hold as Dante, and his whole hand was dead, and it just allowed me to give me the few turns I needed to come back and won. So just pitting their cards face down, keeping them permanently face down, with anything that pits face down, like Floodgate Trap Holds, the Quaking Mirror Forces, those cards are really good for this deck. Getting rid of that back row is really good. Cosmic Cyclone is really great against this deck. And keeping things face down, or obviously Regeki Dark Hole, can help you from getting stunned out from this matchup. So now that I talked about hurting the stun factor for this deck, last and not least, I want to talk about slowing down this deck's grind game. Now, obviously, every Burning Abyss monster recycles out of the graveyard with their own inherent effect, which is why cards like Shadow and Prison Mirror, which don't see a lot of play right now, and I'm kind of confused why, because we have decks like the Dark Synchro deck, the Dark Version of Heroes, and hell, even we have the PK Fire deck that runs a lot of dark monsters, but Shadow people aren't running the Shadow Mirror. It's pretty much a skill drain for dark monsters. What is there not to like about this card? It's going to shut off all of the PK monsters. It's going to shut off all the Burning Abyss monsters. There's pretty much a lot going for this card that a lot of players aren't running. Now granted, most people just feel like you can just winter cherries and win, but sometimes you cannot. You can't winter cherries and win because they can still make plays. They can still make their other rank 3s. So it's very important to stop their graveyard effects. Now in my deck like Heroes, and a lot of people who play the Hero deck, or people like my friend who main deck the Macrocosmos that shuts off the graveyard, is very great doing cards like Dark Claw and cards that shut off the graveyard. Due to the fact that obviously same thing as Shadow and Prison Mirror, they cannot get their graveyard, but a bonus from Shadow and Prison Mirror, it stops effects on the field. So you really want to hurt the graveyard. A lot of BA monsters on the effects don't activate on the field, so it's a graveyard based deck. So cutting their assets to the graveyard is going to help slow down their grind game. Then cards like Drowning Mirror Force and Storming Mirror Force is really great for this matchup, due to the fact that since they were Dante's when they were destroyed, get an effect, you can pin them back to the deck and you don't have to worry about them anymore. Now with that being said, guys, this is my PK Fire how to beat video. If I missed out on anything on how to beat the PK Fire deck, I want to leave that for you guys to post in the comment section down below. And as I always tell you guys, if you're new here to the channel, I would love for you to subscribe for more competitive Yu-Gi-Oh content. I upload 3 times a week. On Mondays I do my general discussions, on Wednesdays I do my top 10s, and on Fridays I do my Explain series where I explain decks and archetypes in detail. Also, before I let you guys go, I still have the GoFundMe up. I originally thought GoFundMe lasted for a certain amount of time, but apparently I guess it lasts until I decide on withdrawing the money out from the account. So the GoFundMe is going to stay up until the end of the week. I'm just going to extend it. My hotel is already booked. I don't have to pay for it yet. So if you guys still want to help me out with the GoFundMe, link will be in the description below. And for you guys that don't want to donate anything more than $5, if you want to donate 50 cents, $1, or a quarter, I have my PayPal linked in the front page of my channel, and I'll have the link to my PayPal in the description below. But so, like I always tell you guys, this is Chris from Team Innovation, and I'm signing out. Peace, guys, and stay innovative. Deuces. I guess you can add the Neo-Spacian as a 6th version, but I don't really count Neo-Spacian as a version of Heroes. I mean, they're like partnered